Hello and welcome. You can't have missed that the 5th season of the IPL has thrown up a new champion. After finishing the first 4 seasons at number 6, 8, 6 and 4 respectively, the Kolkata Knight Riders team has walked away with the trophy and the prize money in 2012. In a year that saw packed stadium and the best cricket played in the IPL since it started in 2008, this team has emerged as the worthy winners. My guest today is a man who's always said there are no great coaches or great leaders, there are only great teams. Please welcome the captain of KKR, Gautam Gambhir. Gautam, congratulations. Good to have you back on the show.
Thank you very much. It's an honor.
And people have been telling me that you only speak in Bengali these days. Now, এটা কি সত্যি কথা? Luckily, I can speak Bengali, so আমি বাংলা বলতে পারি. So we can do this in Bengali.
Look, I'm still learning because when I've said that I'm a Kolkata boy now, so I have to learn Bengali. Hopefully, by the 6th season of IPL, I should be able to cover.
We'll do a little bit of this in Bengali.
Absolutely, I think give me
so
one.
So what are the words you know now?
Honestly, I haven't. I'm still teaching. I'm still learning. Sorry, but by the next season, I'll have an interview with you in Bengali for sure.
When I watched that final, after it was over, you said 2 words: mission accomplished. This is a mission that started actually last year when you came on board at KKR, isn't it? Give me a sense of what are the things that you all did, what are the steps that you took with the team management, with the coaches and the support staff to get Kolkata Knight Riders to where it is today?
Look, I've always said in all my interviews that KKR is not about individuals, and since the time I've taken over, my only job was to tell people that let's not talk about KKR as a team which is very popular off the cricket field. It has to be a team which people should talk about what they do on the cricket field, and KKR should not be about individuals. I think it's time, it was time since the time I've taken over that people should stop worshipping or stop talking about individuals, because in a team sport or in a team game, it's all about the team, and it's all about team that comes first. So we wanted to get this culture in KKR that there is no one bigger than the team.
What are the other 2-3 things that you all did to get ready to be in a position to be champions?
For me, I think it's all about honoring or giving credit to the small contributions, because I'm a very strong believer in one thing, that in a country like India, we don't give enough credit to small contributions, and I'm a very strong believer that it's those small contributions which will win you games. Big contributions can only make headlines, and that is what happens in India. I think people only give credit to big contributions, someone getting 100 or someone getting 5 wickets haul. For an example, in the final of the IPL, I think no one would have spoken about Jack Callis's inning or Bislar's inning if someone like Manoj Tiwari wouldn't have scored those 2 boundaries in the last over, or maybe Shakib Al Hasan wouldn't have scored that last that boundary in the second last over. So for me, those small contributions makes bigger impact than the bigger contributions.
So is the team composition also something that you all worked at? Because Sunil Narine, player of the tournament, is that, you know, how lucky can you get, or is it luck or is it strategy?
No one has seen luck. We only talk about this luck factor. It's an individual which makes his own luck. So Sunil Narine was a complete strategy. We had the strategy that we needed someone who's difficult to pick and people who've not seen him. So he was someone which was always a very important weapon and very important cock in our armory. So, and he's delivered it for us.
But how did you see that potential, given that he was an unknown quantity in the world?
Look, I played him. He made his debut in India in a one-day series when West Indies played, and I played him in one of the one-days, and I thought that it was very difficult for me to pick him, and so I thought that like if an Indian cricketer, if an Indian batsman doesn't pick a spinner, obviously he has to be someone special, and that's where we picked him. We thought that he could be someone who could be of a very big use for us, especially in Calcutta, because wicket suits spinners, and there will be many more wickets in India during that time which will help the spinners. So we wanted him, and it was a complete strategy to it. It has nothing to do with luck.
Okay, so cultural changes were effected, strategically certain players were gone after. What else? Because this is not something that's happened overnight. Even the last year, you were happy with that number 4 because it was a move up and it seemed like you were headed somewhere, and you reached the destination this year. So explain a little bit more of the strategic changes.
One more thing that has changed in a big way is since the time I've taken over, I've always maintained one thing, and I've always spoken to my teammates only about one thing, that it's the successful team that makes a successful captain. Never ever think on those lines that it's me who's going to make a success, who has made a successful team. It is you guys who will make me a successful captain, not me who will make you guys a successful team.
So if I were to tell you to look back at this tournament and pick up all those small contributions and pick 3-4 that you think were critical, that sustained KKR to #2 on the league table and then into the final and then as champions, what were 3 or 4 contributions, small ones?
There have been a lot of good contributions. I think someone like Bisla playing an outstanding innings in the final. Someone who's so unknown and taking on that pressure against the champions, defending champions, and playing in their own backyard when the team was chasing 190. Sunil Narayan has been phenomenal, but I've always believed that people talk a lot about Sunil Narayan, but it's the entire bowling department who's done the job for us, because Sunil was someone who could have only bowled 4 overs. The rest 16 overs had to be bowled. So a lot of credit goes to not only Sunil Narayan but all the bowlers. Someone like Balaji, he's been phenomenal. I think he got 10 or 11 wickets at the economy rate of less than 6, which is the best in any of the IPLs. All the other guys, Brett bowled brilliantly, Shakib contributed, Iqbal. So I think it's not only about individuals, it's about the whole entire.
You can mention your second highest run score in the tournament also. It's okay. It's part of the week.
I think that's my job. I think I don't want to talk a lot about my runs because I've always believed people talk a lot about this team spirit. We should play as a team. I think we've taken that word in a wrong way. I think for me, team is not about wearing the same clothes and walking together. Team is about when you play for each other, when you know that I'm hitting the ball well, so I have to get runs for people who've not been hitting the ball well, because there will be a time soon in next game or next to next game where I will not score runs, someone else will stand up and score runs for me. So this is what team is all about, not wearing the same clothes or wearing the same cap and walking together.
As the captain of the winning team, as the captain of the champions, how did you feel when the credibility of the IPL got questioned? You know, every year, it's part and parcel of the IPL, isn't it? Before or after, there is a lot of tamasha, which has nothing to do with what is happening on field, okay? But this year, for the first time, the India TV Sting did raise questions about possible spot fixing, possible black money payments to cricketers because there's such large amounts of money, and all, as usual, questions were raised about the credibility of a tournament that you're so passionate about, and today that you won. What was your reaction?
Look, it's very easy to blame IPL or BCCI for everything, and I've always believed that it's an individual's decision. IPL or BCCI cannot control people off the cricket field. I think they can't appoint someone 24/7 monitoring everyone. It is a very individual's decision. If an individual's conscience is very clear, he will not get into all these things. At the same time, you can't just keep blaming IPL and BCCI for all those things. I think if someone does these kind of things, a strict action needs to be taken against them, because for me, I think IPL is a fierce battle between bat and ball, and we've seen the kind of cricket that has been played this year in IPL. There have been so many great games which has gone till the last over. So this shows the competitiveness in the IPL. IPL has given us some quality players who've gone on to play for India and has really done well. IPL has given us a bigger pool of players. IPL has helped domestic players financially as well. So I think IPL has been of a big advantage to a lot of things.
So when this happens, when things like this happen and you're out there playing and that is your job and that's your focus, do you manage to sort of insulate yourself? And if you do, then how do you do that? Because you are aware of what's happening around you, can't cut it off totally.
Well, as I said, it's very individual. It is an individual's decision. For me,
whenever how do you deal with it?
When I go onto the cricket field, my job is to, my priorities are pretty simple. That for me, IPL is all about cricket. I've always been saying this, that from IPL 1, that when people used to talk about a lot of this after party things. For me, I think IPL has always been cricket.
I'm not concerned about all the tamasha with people and players and parties. That's okay. That doesn't bother me. But these questions about the game's credibility, you're saying is not serious, or if it is serious, it should be proven and should be, action should be taken.
Look,
I'm not talking about the parties or
if
whatever
such
else
things happen, obviously these are serious. You can't say that, you can't take these things lightly, because anyone would question the credibility of the tournament or credibility of cricket in this country. And if, as I said, that if these things are proven that someone has done all these kind of things, so very strict action needs to be taken. And more than I think on a player, a strict action needs to be taken on the franchise as well, because it is the franchise's responsibility to take care of its own player.
You have a special relationship with Shah Rukh Khan, and you've talked on this show about how he's always inspired confidence and he's always been supportive and not really interfered with the cricket. And yet this year, in and around the IPL where Shah Rukh Khan was concerned, he was grabbing a lot of headlines, okay? And KKR's association, by virtue of being his team, was getting the headlines, but because of these, distractions. Is it important for KKR to separate itself from Shah Rukh Khan now that it's established itself as a brand?
To be honest, Shah Rukh has been very low profile this year as well, apart from we winning the game in Mumbai and then winning against Delhi, the playoff game in the final. I think otherwise he's been very low profile, and he's...
But when he's appeared, he's become very high profile for whatever reason. Like, I'm not interested in what happened there. I'm just wondering, as the captain of KKR and with a guy who's got a vision for where this team has to go, do you think it's time for the owners to become a little less profile? We watch the EPL games, right? And we know there are very, very rich multimillionaires, Russians, oligarchs and the others who own these teams. We don't see them.
Shah Rukh, I think whatever thing happened, for me, the focus, we had never discussed about what Shah Rukh was doing off the cricket field. Our focus was such that we were getting into the tournament in that phase where it was very important for us to have a focus on how we want to play the game of cricket. So I think whatever he shows his excitement, to be honest, he's seen the lows of IPL.
Yeah,
in first 3 years, I think he's taken all the flag from every quarter. People have criticized him left, right and center. And I personally feel he didn't deserve all that. He's just been the owner. I think if KKR does not do well, I think you need to criticize players who play cricket. I think that has never happened in first 3 years of the IPL. If KKR was not doing well, everyone used to criticize Shah Rukh Khan. So whatever excitement he's shown this year, because he's seen the lows of IPL, he deserves to show his excitement as well and enjoy the highs as well. And for me, the only way forward is, if KKR do not do well, let's stop talking about Shah Rukh Khan. I think if KKR do not do well, let's start criticizing the players. And if KKR does well, let's give credit to the players, because it's the players which makes KKR. It's not the owners or it's not anyone.
And of course, if he gets a football club now, then he might have a little less time for you all, isn't it?
Hopefully, I think he should have many more teams and he should own many more teams so that he can
start. He's good at it.
Absolutely.
I'm going back to the broader point, not just Shah Rukh Khan, any of the team owners. I mean, Shah Rukh Khan is a superstar, so obviously he gets more attention. But all team owners in the IPL, do you think they now need to take a, to consciously take a low profile?
It's important, because ultimately people should associate IPL with cricket. They should not associate IPL with entertainment, because entertainment is a completely different industry. You've started IPL in this country just to promote cricket, and it's a domestic tournament. That's what BCCI says, and that's what we all feel. We want to gain a lot of things from IPL. We want that IPL should give good quality cricketers to Indian cricket. So for me, I think the most important thing is that IPL should be associated with cricket, not with entertainment.
And not with the owners.
Absolutely. I think Mumbai Indians should be known, or KKR should be known as a team how they do on the cricket field, not by their owner's name. For me, I think that is where IPL needs to go in future as well.
Now that the IPL is done, I'm guessing you're going to have a well-deserved break, a month or two at least. After that, it goes back to cricket, right? And I was taking a look at the schedule, and from what I can see, it's interesting to see that there is not a single test match scheduled overseas. Okay, that's interesting, because I'm going to have to talk to you about what happened last year and early this year, the England series and the Australia series. You're a guy who's told me often enough that you want to be in the dressing room of the winning side, not the losing side. So it must have been a very, very painful time, the England series and then the Australia series.
Yeah, I think very frustrating as well. I think not only for us, for the people of, for the fans of, for the people of India as well. I think they've supported us, and we were the world champions maybe just a year back, and since then we've not done really well. But it doesn't mean that we can't do well in future as well. I think we need to give credit to the opposition as well. Sometimes we are too biased about our own team that we stop giving credit to the opposition as well. I think England played really good cricket against us. Australia were much more well planned, prepared than us. I've said it in my press conference in Perth as well that I think let's stop blaming individuals, because whatever was happening in Australia, we were putting a lot of blame on certain individuals. It was not about individuals. If it has to be blamed, it has to be blamed on the entire team, and it has to start from me, because I'm the one who opens the batting for this country. I'm the one who's there first on the cricket field whenever India bats first. So it has to start from me, and I think I was ready to take that blame.
you know that I'm not a cricket expert, and I watch it pretty much, I pick and choose what I want to watch. I was really looking forward to seeing the world champions in one-day cricket overseas, and I really tuned into those test matches. And I was really shocked. Now, like you're saying, that team was very good in those conditions. The English team was very good in those conditions. But Gautam, England and then Australia, I think 2 matches in both the series, defeat by an innings and more, right? What really happened in the middle? What is your analysis? Because the pundits have a lot of analysis. So, I have lots of stuff here in the research which analyzed what went wrong, and how Rahul Dravid, at least in England, was the only guy who kept standing again up to that opposition. What goes wrong?
We couldn't play to our potential. We were not good enough to beat the opposition in their own backyard, and they were far superior than us. As I said, that sometimes you need to give credit to the opposition, and our best was not the best to beat the opposition in their own backyard. And I'm a very strong believer that to be a top playing, test playing nation, you got to start beating oppositions in their own backyard, especially away from India. And that is what we were doing really well earlier. We had
South Africa, just before
South Africa,
that,
we did well. New Zealand, we had beaten New Zealand in New Zealand. That is how we became #1. Since then, I think our graph has gone down, but it doesn't mean that we can't move forward again. Because
what can you do to fix it so that the graph moves up again? Because like you said, the team has done it before.
Look, for me, the most important thing is let's concentrate on test cricket, because in India the problem is that we don't give a lot of popularity or emphasis on test cricket. It has to start from media, from players. Players should be willing to play test cricket, because if your test side is settled, I think a lot of other things can take care of its own. The rest 2 formats can be taken care of, because ultimately if you see most of the test playing nations who are doing well, there are other 2 formats they're doing decent as well. So let's concentrate, let's focus on test cricket, because ultimately it's the test cricket which is the topmost, should be the topmost priority, and people should be willing, youngsters should be willing to play test cricket and should be willing to do well in test cricket.
But is it about players making a choice? Because most of the few cricketers that I've met, and you specifically, have always said that winning test matches and winning test matches overseas is really the ultimate, that's the sweetest success in cricket. So if that's the attitude, so then it's not players who don't want to play test cricket.
No, we don't promote test cricket the way we promote 2020 and one-day cricket in India. If you see the way England promote test cricket, the way Australia promote their test cricket, it's not the same way that happens in India.
But do you need to play more test cricket to be able to win where these big series are concerned? Because like I said, I went through your calendar up to at least January 2013, and there are some test matches, but all in India, nothing overseas. So if you don't play overseas, how are you going to go back up that graph?
But that's a future talk program. We've played in all the other countries. We've already played in New Zealand, South Africa, Australia, England, South Africa. So I think, and West Indies as well. So I think our next overseas tour is South Africa next year, December. But it gives you that time to build a team, because we're going to be in the transition phase as well very soon. So it's time, if we start playing in our own backyard and prepare a team or build a team which can do well in overseas condition. We still have another 1.5 years. So this is the time where you can build a team for your own.
Is that happening?
It should happen, I think, very soon, because we got to look forward as well. We need to look in future as well, which is very important, because you got to start beating oppositions. You got to start winning series in South Africa, Australia and England. That is where I think ultimately you want to be part of the winning team.
But I was reading that you've said somewhere that in India we should quite aggressively create wickets that favor our kind of batting and favor our kind of playing, because all countries do that. But if you do that, then you're back to the same thing. No, India will win in India and these guys will win wherever they are.
But because there was nothing wrong in it, because
no, I'm not saying it's wrong.
I'm just saying because when we go overseas, when we travel overseas, a lot of people question our temperament, our technique as a batsman. Everyone questions our temperament, whether we are suitable on playing on bouncy or a green track where ball is doing a lot. But the same thing needs to be done to the opposition as well, because their temperament and technique needs to be challenged as well when they come to India, because you can't just keep playing on green tracks, you can't just keep playing on bouncy track. That's not the solution, because if someone questions our technique in their own country, so their technique and temperament needs to be tested in our conditions as well. So there was nothing wrong. I never said that we need to prepare ranked runners. I just said that we need to prepare wickets which suits our strength, because that is what every country does.
But then how do we really test a team, a cricket team's skills? Because if you play on their tracks in their country and they win, they play in our tracks and we win, Then maybe we should have some neutral kind of tracks. I don't know. So I'm
No,
not, you know, I'm not a cricket expert. I'm just saying something.
But that is why Test cricket is ultimate fun. In a one-day game, you get all kind of placid tracks everywhere you travel. Whether you travel in Australia, England, India, you get very similar tracks. But in Test cricket, you can prepare tracks to your own advantage because you have 5 days of cricket where everything changes very quickly. You got to just keep planning in every session and all that stuff. That is what makes Test cricket really interesting. So there was, and as you said, that the only way forward is that when we go overseas, we need to prepare ourselves well.
For those tracks?
Absolutely, we need to prepare. We need to give enough time to our players to get acclimatized to those conditions. And I'm a very strong believer, the better you prepare, the better your results will come. It is not like that you're going into the series 2 days before or 3 days before, you're playing one warm-up game before the test match and you say that I'm ready to take any challenges. That's not the case.
I've heard you say that the Indian team is united, and yet when I read all the reports that came out of those series, and I'm going to quote something I read on Cricinfo to prepare for this interview. You know, I'm quoting from Cricinfo. MS Dhoni and Virendra Sehwag explained tactics with measured contradiction, as if they were in different dressing rooms leading Jharkhand and Delhi respectively in the Vijay Hazare Trophy. This after Gautam Gambhir has disapproved of the pace of his captain's innings in one of the 2 victories in Australia. The board resorts to that happy fail-safe, the misquote, ticking off the beastie boys of the press for inventing conspiracy theories. There is no communication gap, they huff, everything is fine. Is it? Is everything fine?
Absolutely, there was nothing. There was no rift, nothing. I think it was all media created.
I don't know, I'm reading reports.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be very honest to you that there was no rift between any of us. I think we play for one common goal, that is to go out there and make the country proud and make India win. That is our topmost priority. And I never said, I think it was taken in a wrong way. I just said that if we are the world champions and if we want to do well in a tri-series, we need to start dominating. We need to start dominating opposition. If we are chasing 230 odd runs, we can't take that. We can't take that game till the last over. We got to finish it and to win that game convincingly. So there was nothing wrong in it. I never singled out any individuals. I never singled out the captain as well or captain's inning as well. And what he said was absolutely right. He said that he doesn't get the backing of other players because he bats at number 7, so he only has 4 players after him. Someone like me who has 9 or 10 players coming after me. So I have that luxury of going out there and playing aggressively. But at the same time, I never mentioned 1 or 2 individuals. I just said we should have finished that game earlier. And we, as the world champions, if we want to do well, we got to start dominating and start winning convincingly. So there was no controversy between me, Dhoni or Viru Dhoni, nothing. We were unfortunate that we could not reach the finals of the Tri-Nation, but there was no rift at all because we play for one common goal. Whenever we sit in the dressing room, we play for one common goal, that is to make India proud.
But given that you all are all talented, all intelligent, or many of you are intelligent thinking cricketers, and now many of you are successful captains, even if it's at the club and T20 level, you're bound to have your own opinions on how things can be done. How does that get managed in the Indian cricket team?
But that happens in a family as well.
No,
like
absolutely.
If there are 7, 8 people sitting in a room.
It happens in companies, it happens in families, it will happen in the Indian cricket team. My question to you is, what's the system of managing it so that if Gautam Gambhir has a point of view, it gets listened to?
The most important thing is that these things should not be coming out in open. I think if we sit in a closed door and if we are discussing how to go about things in the next game, if 7 or 8 of us are sitting in a room, we might have a difference of opinion. I might say that this is the best plan to go forward. Someone else might say that that is the best way to go forward. It doesn't mean that there's a rift between 2 individuals.
You're still quite hot-headed, aren't you?
Look, I think...
in a good way.
Absolutely.
But you are.
That's how I am. I don't want to change, to be honest.
It's less than before and yet it's more confident than before, the hot-headedness, isn't it?
I don't know. I think I've maintained, I've been like this always.
Should we ask your wife?
You sure she can answer this question much better?
Can she? How much time have you all got together
Yeah,
since
that's
you
also
got
true.
married?
I think that's also true.
Gautam Gambhir, I wish you all the best. Keep winning and keep the attitude about wanting to win and not just play. So all the best.
Thank you very much.